God, my ears. What? What did he do? Where? Here. In Leningrad. The real Leningrad. Carver. He's got a nosebleed. Well, I'm finally back in Russia. Time to tread lightly and move fast. There are people here I'm not too eager to meet. But the dream where we just were, what was that? We were looking for Kalenko's palace, and we stumbled upon that woodcarver in the church. The one who made my little black doll. So helpful. It's telling us where to go and guiding us through these strange dreams where everything suddenly bends to Carver's will. How does he do that? I wonder if the woodcarver still exists in the real world. He said he'll come and find us in the cathedral, but we're looking for the palace. And we have the address. Better get moving. This is Red Moon Role-Playing.
Nevsky Prospect, the main street in Leningrad. Your ears are ringing and you both have a nosebleed. The voices you've heard still echo in your head. Find the house. Find Kalenko's palace. Bolshoi Prospect 38. You are standing in an alley by the large street. Your clothes stink of sewer. And Bjorn, you still have your weapon in one of the bags with supplies from Anna. It's cloudy and there's a light rain. Maybe 10 degrees. It's quite chilly, especially since your clothes are wet. There's people moving around on the street, but in this alley you are away from them enough that no one has noticed you, at least not yet.
I look around, look up at the rooftops, I make sure no one's seen me, and then I take the gun and I put it in the bag. As I'm kneeling down there, I see the silencer to the rifle is still in the bag, so I take a little time to screw that on in case I need to quickly pull it off and make some discreet aggression. Ugh, I stink.
But it worked, Bjorn. Can you believe it? It actually worked. I don't even... Oh God, if I could write a book about this. Like reversal summoning. It's like, you know, like it sounds stupid. I just said it, reverse summoning. That sounds like a load of shit. It actually worked. We're here. Oh my God. And I sort of then just collapse.
I frown and shake my head as I zip up the bag. What did you do?
I try and sort of steady myself. I'm feeling extremely dizzy, and to be honest with you, not at all with it. For a moment, I sort of tap the wall of the alley to discern that it feels different from the dream world. I guess it does. And then I just sort of start rambling. Well, the principle of demorology as like Arnaldo Ucci, he believed in the prospect of transference and positioning. If two spaces don't necessarily need to connect, they multiple distance doesn't matter. But then if you were to reverse the power required, normally you can't do. But we were there, weren't we? And I guess the siphoning of the energy.
I look at him with a strange gaze. Close my eyes and I stand up. By the looks of it, we're in old Leningrad.
Yes. Come to the church. Let's find the church. We need to go to the church again. Let's find it here, yeah?
I start to move out of the alley. I look around.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are hanging out on the street. A lot of them are just standing about, seemingly having nothing to do. You see a store as you come out of the alley. Through the windows, you can see that all the shelves in there are empty. You see people lining up with their ration cards outside the government-owned stores here.
It's at this point I think to myself, wait, our things, I start patting myself down, do we have anything on us other than what we would have had in our pockets? And maybe those bags, actually, that were close by, I seem to recall. But do we have anything else?
You have what you were wearing, and you have the bag. The bag contains weapons, and Björn, when you were looking in it, you also remember seeing some of the foreign currencies, the passport, and at the very bottom, there's 2 suits. Something that may come very much in handy given the, well, not exactly sanitary condition of your current set of clothes.
I think it'll be too cold, and we'll be probably, I don't know, to change out here, and we might get, I don't know, interrupted by someone seeing it a bit strange.
Let's find a shelter. But wait, where's Jenkins?
Jenkins is not here. Where is Jenkins? That's a good question.
Oh god, he'll be back in the hotel, won't he? In Berlin?
That is the last place you saw him.
I'm looking around at the streets, the people hanging idly, the abandoned shops, and just shaking my head, saying, he tried to do it too fast, with all his good intentions. Carver, we should, if we find the church, maybe we could find a private room there where we could change. I think I've got some extra suits for us here to take on.
Yes, let's just focus. I idly reach my hand to scratch at the scab on my neck, at the back.
Yes, you feel it there. It's a very strange feeling.
Everything is strange right now. We're here. Probably no one will be looking for us here. No one will be expecting us here.
Let's go. Find the church. Get ready and find this address.
Björn, you know that Bolshoi Prospect. That is about an hour's walk from Nevsky Prospect. Perhaps 20 minutes by car or by taxi.
Okay, if we want to get into, well, I guess a lot of people smell. I'm not sure. Maybe we could just get into a taxi and get there.
The stench is really quite bad. There are spots close by here, other alleys that are seemingly very quiet that you can make use of to make the change. It's quite quick.
I start to reconsider this, and then I look at Carver. Carver, we need to get out of these clothes. We can't go around like this. Let's go. Let's find a secluded spot, and I start looking for an alley.
You quickly find one.
I open the bag and I bring out Carver's suit, put it on the side for him.
I change quickly.
And I change myself.
It's a perfect fit. You wonder how Anna knew all that about you, but she did.
It's a shame I can't feel clean. Even if the stench is gone, I still feel disgusted by myself and my current state. Ugh.
You haven't felt clean for a long time. Not since that night in Pagodin's mansion. Just felt like you've wanted to have shower after shower, but nothing helps. You don't get any cleaner.
I don't really seem to care. I mean, I imagine by this point I look extremely haggard. My hair's probably grown a bit, getting longer. Probably the sort of light stubble I usually have, or even the cleanly shaven, I've definitely got heavy stubble now. I don't really care. I'm too focused on what we're doing. I sort of put on the suit and don't really put it on quite correctly, probably.
I pull my hand through my hair, it's greasy, and try to put it in something of a proper hairstyle. Close the bags and shoulder it and nod to Carver.
Do you aim to walk, or are you going to try to take a taxi?
I'm gonna try and take a taxi that's on the closer street.
You start looking for a taxi. As you do this, you pass by a store where an old lady in her 80s, wearing a colorful jacket, is yelling at a store clerk, a man in his 30s. How am I supposed to survive on this? A kilo of meat and 600 grams of pasta for 3 months? I'll starve. I understand, he says. It's tough for everyone. I wish I could do something, but I hardly have enough for my own family. I'm sorry. Was this what we fought for? What we suffered and died for during the 900 days? This? The lady sits down on the street and she starts crying. The people around her are seemingly trying to ignore her.
I shake my head and once again say to myself, too fast. He moved too fast. Oh, what a mess.
I look with almost a distinct lack of empathy. It's not that I don't care, these concerns seem so mundane. What I know now, countries, governments, it's all meaningless. We need to focus.
Björn, as you are looking for the taxi, you start noticing an unusually heavy military presence in the city. There's soldiers on almost every corner, armored vehicles. Perhaps it's the failed August coup d'etat by the hardliners and the Communist Party that has everyone on edge. But something tells you that that isn't all. You find a taxi.
Yeah, I get in and...
Where do you want to go, comrade?
We were heading for St. John's Church. Would you get us there, please?
Certainly.
After a little pause, I kind of very idly look at this driver, and I just sort of mention, any news from Berlin these days?
We don't hear much from the West. There's so much to worry about here. Everything is changing so quickly. I wonder how long this will last.
Yeah, the current state of the party. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I just hope something better comes from all this. A better future. But I have my doubts. He turns up the radio a little bit and you hear Russian pop music.
Don't worry, friend. It'll take time, but it will get better. Keep your chin up.
I'll try, he says.
I suppose looking out the window, I kind of only now realised that we've actually not crossed countries. Like, I've kind of snapped into Russian, I guess, quite easily, I suppose. I have been here once or twice before, but it's been a very long time. I'm kind of feeling a bit out of touch with events.
Yes, it's been a while. It certainly has changed. Last time you were here, certainly there wasn't this much military and things were in much, much better order. The stores had goods and people weren't just idling about. Things are definitely changing. And it doesn't seem to be changing in a particularly good direction.
Being in Russia and speaking Russian and seeing everything makes me not very much at ease. It's a mix of nostalgia and worry what's gonna happen, and also makes me think of things that happened long ago. It's been such a long time since I was here.
And the taxi keeps moving along the streets. Again, you continue to see armored cars, soldiers. Eventually, you arrive at St. John's Church. The taxi stops by the side of the road. Here we are.
I flick through a little bundle of cash, and as I reach over to pay the driver, I ask him, "So, what's happening in the city? Why is there such a heavy military presence?"
They don't say. I think it's because of the coup, but I've heard rumors of something else. There's something going on. The military is uneasy. They're worried about something. Something is about to happen, but they've never told us before. Why would they start now?
I nod. Recognize this. Ooh, yeah. Well, the coup was a month ago, though. I wonder what they're up to. And I pay him and start getting out of the car.
And you get out of the car, and in front of you is St. John's Church. It appears exactly as it did in the dream. Only, well, the city around it is fully alive. There's no snow, and there's no artillery fire.
I just sort of immediately brush myself off and start heading towards the church.
I follow, looking around, breathing in the air.
You get to the door of the church and you enter. As you come inside, you see that the church appears exactly as it did in the dream. The same burning candles and dark icons on the walls. There are two old ladies that are lighting candles and praying before the saintly icons. The old icon painter sitting next to a crypt, just as he did in the dream. He has no dolls here, but he's working on the Madonna's image. The one that looks like you, Carver. He's focused on his work. He looks exactly the same as in the dream.
Seeing him, I immediately get a feel for the doll. The doll, do I still have it? I check my pockets. Is it still there?
Yes, you have it. You have always had it. You have always made sure that it is close. You cannot let go of the doll. It won't let you do that.
Once again, I squeeze it in my pocket. My gift, it's important.
It is.
I go over to the man, the idol maker, and I just sort of cough a little and in Russian say, good afternoon, sir.
He looks at you with a curious look, and then he gets a little bit more of a stern look on his face. I told you, it isn't done yet. I will come when it's completed. We can't use it now.
You kind of look a bit confused for a moment. I'm not really sure what to say to that.
No, and as you look at him and you blink, and he is gone. Only the icon sits there, only the painting.
Ugh.
Did I just see this as well?
Yes.
I put a hand on Carver's shoulder. What happened?
You said it's not ready yet.
Yeah, but where did he go?
I kind of try and sense the area. Can I use enhanced awareness here?
Roll for it.
15. Which is I can discern clear details in this place where I'm thinking the illusion maybe has weakened for a moment.
You see this place, and this place exists beyond this reality into the next. It exists in all the realities, just in this particular form, unchanged. You have never experienced anything quite like this. This must be a very important place.
I look at then, he's gone, but I notice then the picture. And now that he's gone, I just go up to it and I just sort of touch it and look at it full on, like, what is this picture? What can I tell from it?
It is an icon. It is a black Madonna, a dark-skinned Maria and the Jesus child. Yet the face of the Madonna, it bears a striking resemblance to your face. You can't quite explain how that is possible, but it is unmistakable.
This man, or whatever he is, he knows us. Do you think he knows us, or do you think maybe he's doing this for Chigadio, and that he sees us as his servants or something, like he thinks that he is making something for us when he's really making it for, the incarnates. He thinks that we are the incarnates, perhaps.
This place would feel different if it was his. It's something else, maybe. I look at the imagery.
You mean he really thinks he's making something for us, as in you and me? Is that it? You think he's really doing that?
I think so. At this point, could I still had one edge of my sixth sense edges saved up. Could I use that to discover or sense a clue? Or leave when you're off track? Because Carver's kind of now a bit like, what are we supposed to do here? Are we done here? Or...
The palace is where you need to go. The house, that is where the children were. That is an important place. That is likely where you can hope to find, well, if not the incarnate himself, then at least the energy that he is feeding off of. That is where you can stop him. But this church is an interesting place. And you get a feeling that what is taking place here and the icon before you is an item of great significance and one that will come into play in the future.
I get a strange urge to suddenly pick up the doll and hold it in front of the icon. See if they're like attracting each other or anything.
Do you do it?
Yeah.
You hold up the doll. Nothing particular, just the feeling that you want to bring the doll close to you and you want to take it with you.
I look at the icon for a minute and I look at the doll and I look at the icon. Then I say to the icon, "No, you can't have it. You can't have it." And I'm feeling a bit nervous, and I'm putting the doll in my pocket. Carver, we should go now.
Yes, although... Are the two old ladies still there?
They have lit their candles and they have left. You are now alone in the church.
Not yet, maybe. Let's go.
As I move out and through the church, I feel a bit uneasy, and I look at Carver. Carver, how are you feeling? How's your wound? Is it still holding together?
Is it?
Yes, it is. It is holding together surprisingly well.
I give it a ginger tap, wincing a little, and I go, I suppose it's fine. For now. I'm fine. Probably. Let's go to this location. Let's go.
And you start going towards Bolshoi Prospect. You find the street. You recognize much of it from the dream. It looks very different, of course. The dream was set sometime in the 40s, and many things have, of course, changed in the almost 50 years that have passed since. But it is definitely the same street. It's 4-story houses. Many of them from the end of the 19th century. Not completely unlike Neuer Jungfernstieg back in Hamburg. Back in what feels like an eternity ago. There's an old grizzled man that's sitting by a small table outside one of the houses. Underneath a parasol. It's raining a little bit. Not that it bothers you much. He's sitting there drinking tea and reading a book. You see 37 Bolshoi Prospect, and you see Bolshoi Prospect 39. There is no 38, though.
Well, this is strange.
It just seems as if number 38 is missing. The houses that you remember being on either side of Kalenko's house, they're now connected, wall to wall.
I move up to where the houses connect, and I feel the edges between them, and I look at Cora. Do you see anything?
I take in a deep breath, and I again just look really closely. Is this perhaps another illusion? Maybe something's blocking the way. Can I use enhanced awareness?
This is not something that you will need to roll for. You immediately see it. Something is amiss. There is a night black abyss that exists between the houses. A gaping emptiness which both terrifies and tempts.
And that's where I'm currently standing, feeling the wall.
The wall feels completely normal. Feels quite natural that these houses are connected. Nothing out of the ordinary to you.
Seems like there's nothing here, Carver.
No, it's there. It's hidden.
What?
Of course.
I look at him and back again.
I sort of go, and I sort of put one hand on him as sort of stability, and the other hand I just very carefully just try to reach into this darkness that I can see my inner eye. Like, what happens?
It is very powerful, but you're not able to reach far enough. It's as if you don't have enough of a connection to this place, as if you need something else, something more direct, something that has been here, perhaps.
What are you doing?
The entrance, Bjorn, it's there. We need anchoring, perhaps is the word for it.
What, like a key?
Yeah, that probably would be how it works.
I take out the doll again.
You take out the doll. What do you do with it?
I look at the doll and I look at the wall and I ask the doll, "Do you see anything?" And I put it towards the wall.
You don't feel anything. As you're doing this, the man under the parasol looks at you, and you can see that he's had a bit of a questioning look, and then kind of shrugs and goes back to his book. He's got an ashtray filled with cigarettes in front of him, and he's reading Tolstoy. The book is The Cossacks.
I look at him and I come a bit distracted, realizing what I'm doing, and realize I'm really, really hungry and thirsty when I see his cup of tea there.
I'll sort of chuckle to myself and kind of go over to the man. I'd probably look an absolute mess to this man, other than the nice suit I'm wearing. And I'll kind of go, isn't that funny?
What is funny, friend?
Oh, well, I'm an architect. I'm in the city at the moment, looking in old buildings. You know, it's for research purposes. And it's interesting, I had some old maps of the city back from the 1940s, and I could swear on this street, look how the numbers there don't add up. Isn't that interesting? It's almost like there was an address that was moved. Are you local?
Yes, I've lived here for decades. Yeah, you're right. I never really thought about it. 37, 39, there should be a 38. That's what you are getting at, isn't it? I don't remember there ever being a house there. Maybe someone just made a mistake with the numbering. But if you're looking for 38, yeah. I don't know, but there are people who know this area better than me. Maybe Sergei knows.
Sergei?
Sergei Lebnovitz. He was a military doctor during the war, and he's written books about the siege and about the city. Nobody knows more about it than him. He knows all the streets, all the places. He knows where people had to eat other people to survive. He knows all the horrible things that went on in the city. If anyone knows, it's him. He might be able to explain what's going on with number 38.
Does he have an address nearby?
Yeah, he lives at the Home for Veterans facility. It's just a few blocks away. I can draw you a quick map. He's got a napkin and he just draws up the streets that you need to take to find this Home for Veterans facility.
Bjorn, look at this, yes?
I'm standing there, one hand on the wall and the doll in my other hand, and I've been looking at Corver as he had his conversation. Alright, so someone who can help us, Sergei?
Maybe this man can help, otherwise we can't. And again, I sort of tap the wall in annoyance. We can't get through this physical barrier.
Yeah, let's meet him. Let's see what he can do.
And you start moving towards where the Home for Veterans facility is. You move past a square. It's empty now. Perhaps there would be markets here, but now there's only pigeons and crows. Carver, you recognize this place. Everything becomes white. You see it as it was then. The piles of bodies, the constant droning of the artillery. Your stomach is growling. Hunger is more than you can bear. The clothes feel way too big, although they used to be just your size not long ago. You look down at your small, glove-covered hands. In the one hand, you hold the cat by its neck. It doesn't fight against you. In the other, the small wood-chopping axe. You put the cat down on the firewood chopping block in front of you. You're holding it down with your one hand. You hesitate. You remember how you found the cat, how you fed it, how it purred and kept you warm. But there is no choice. You can only pray that it will understand. You fight against doing it. You don't want to do it. You look at the cat again. It's Jenkins. You're sweating. Your brain is screaming not to do it. Roll to keep it together.
10.
You steady yourself. You breathe out. There never was a choice. In the real world, you cannot avoid the tough decisions. You make them or they are made for you. The you that you see does it. Chops with the axe. The cat doesn't die after the first chop. It's screaming and squirming. What do you do?
I want to stop. I don't want this to continue.
That is what your brain is screaming for you to do. But this is a choice that was already made. The snow is colored red as the axe falls again. Reality returns. The nosebleed is back. This is the first time the flashbacks have manifested without mirrors, Carver. What does that mean? You become guilt-ridden. You have just killed Jenkins. Whether it was real or not does not really matter. You saw yourself kill Jenkins. You saw Jenkins scream and squirm. And you saw him die. You take -1 and stability from this.
I just fall to the ground. I clutch my head.
Carver, I kneel down.
No.
I'll put the bag down. Carver, come on, you're here. What's going on? It's me, look.
I sort of focus on him, and I start to... A tear forms in my eyes as I start to weep a little. Why did I do it, Bjorn? How?
Do what? You did nothing, Carver. You're just here. Come on, you're just here. Nothing happened. Let's go get something to eat. Come on, get up. Go up. Come up.
I let him get me up. I shake a bit. Something to eat. I'm not hungry. I'm not hungry, Bjorn.
Yes, you're hungry. You haven't eaten for, I don't know, a long time now. We need to get something to eat, and then we need to push on. Remember Sergei? We need to find Sergei.
Yes, okay. And I let him lead me on, but I'm still just sort of staring at the square, like just miserable.
That is the square where that happened. Whose memories are those? Was that real? Did you do that? No, that's impossible. You come quite quickly to where the Home for Veterans facility is. You stop by for some food before then, or?
Yeah, some warm soup and some bread would probably do us good.
It warms you up, and it feels good to get some food again. It gives you a little bit of energy.
Carver, are you feeling better? I look at him and I sound as if I care, but my eyes look glazed and kind of empty now.
I'm fine, Bjorn. The food is Fine. I start eating quicker. Let's just get to Sergei and get some answers. And then move on. Always moving on. Always forward.
That's right. That's right.
The Home for Veterans facility is an old building from the beginning of the 20th century. Probably belonged to the bourgeois before the revolution. Inside, it's very clean, almost sterile. White walls. You look at the registry as you get into the building, and you see that there is indeed a Lebnovitz here. And he is on the first floor, just a few doors down that way.
I nod to Bjorn. I point out the name, and I go, maybe you should handle the talking on this one.
Of course, though we're not here to interrogate him, are we?
I give him a weird look for a moment. I almost want to say yes, that I kind of check myself and go, no. We want to find out what he knows about the location, and maybe if he knows of people or things that might still have a connection to that location. So things like that. We're looking for this key, if you will.
I start making my way down the corridor to find his name.
Yes, you find the door marked Lebnovitz.
I knock on the door.
You hear movement on the other side. The door is opened, and a man is standing in front of you. He's a short and thin man with a fuzzy white tuft of hair. Looks to be perhaps in his 80s. You see that he's just put on an army uniform jacket. It has the rank of captain, covered with a row of medals and awards, including the Order of Lenin. He's trying to make himself look presentable, you see. He lights up as he sees you, seemingly very happy with a visitor. Hello, how may I be of service? He asks.
Mr. Lebnovich, or perhaps I should say Captain Lebnovich?
That is me.
I stretch out my hand, and my name is Suchkov Borisovich. We are here, me and my colleague, visiting the town, and we're looking around at old buildings. Well, we got sort of sidetracked here. We recommended your name.
Oh, I see. Well, I certainly know quite a lot about the city. Let me just show you around here in the apartment, and then we can sit down, and I can give you something, some refreshments. It's a very quick tour because it's a 2-room apartment that's full of books, notepads, papers, and there's many maps of Leningrad on the walls. He points to an overfilled sofa, and he fetches a bottle of vodka and crystal glasses. Puts down the glasses and starts pouring the vodka. Please, sit down.
I had almost forgotten the Russian hospitality that you might encounter when moving around like this, and how eager people might be to show you their homes and share their bottle of vodka with you. So it's kind of nostalgic feeling when this suddenly comes back to me, and I come and sit down and I say thank you. Appreciate the gesture. It's nice to see that the warm spirit is still in the city despite everything that's happening.
He nods and smiles. You see on one of the walls also the rug that's on the wall. Very common thing to do in Russian homes. You put a nice rug on the wall because it will keep the heat in, and it makes for nice decoration as well. So, tell me, what brings you to the city? To Leningrad, or shall I say St. Petersburg as it's now named?
That's right, St. Petersburg, the new city. We were looking to visit an old building at Bolshoi Prospect 38. But apparently it's just number 37 and 39 on that street. Is this something you are familiar with?
Bolshoi Prospect. Let me go look into my records here. I remember there's some stories about that street. He Starts looking through his books. Yes. Bolshoi Prospect 38. Yes, there was an orphanage that was run out of that house. It was operated from 1941 to 44 by a man named Nikolai Kalenko and his family. More than 700 children were brought to the orphanage.
700?
Yes. But together with the family, they were thought to have died from disease and starvation. Not that that's anything particularly strange. Thousands of people died daily during the siege, so, 700 would be tragically normal. How much do you know about the 900 days, about the siege?
I try to shake my memory.
You remember that the Germans attacked in 1941. You know that the Soviet Union knew that they were coming, but they were still weak. The resistance was crushed and they advanced. Together with Finnish troops, they laid siege to the city of Leningrad, encircling it, destroying the food warehouses. They distributed the remaining food supplies, but it was, of course, not enough. The Germans marched across the countryside and they drove the refugees who tried to get out back into the city. And by November, the lack of food had become an increasing hardship for the people. They were down to rations of only 1/4 kilogram of bread per day. Famine set in. You remember stories of the city's pets and rats and crows, that they were all eaten within just a few weeks. The winter that year was brutal. Electricity was reduced to the last reserve generator. People stayed indoors, trying to save what little energy they still had. Leningrad was a dead city then. During the coldest months, 2,000 to 3,000 people would die every day, rising to as many as 10,000 at the peak. They dug mass graves at the cemeteries, but few possessed the strength to carry the dead. Bodies would pile up in parks, along the streets, and in open fields. Hospitals transformed into morgues. That first winter was the worst. When spring finally arrived, the dead were buried quickly to avoid epidemics. The casualty rate diminished, but by that point, Leningrad's population had been decimated to 700,000. 700,000 from a pre-war population of 3.5 million. At least 1.5 million people died here, and the rest fled. The blockade continued until 1944, and people kept dying until then, although at lower numbers than that first winter. Those were the 900 days. You remember that story vividly. It is a story of the Soviet Union and of the suffering that it went through during the war.
When he mentions the 900 days, I zone out for a bit as I think back on what I've heard of it and what I know of it. And I realize suddenly how it's all connected to what we've been seeing, what we've been hearing and experiencing. The cold and the artillery fire and the feeling of being alone and hungry and cold. And I snap out of it and I look at him and, well, I remember reading about the siege and the starvation, everything that the city went through and how many people died every day. I'm still surprised, though, that so many children were actually brought into the orphanage and that they still tried to handle that capacity of 700.
That is a very high number, much higher than most other orphanages. It's must have been very tough for them trying to feed that many, trying to take care of that many children under those circumstances. I wonder what made the Kalenkos agree to that and how it all came to pass. I know they had lived there for a long time. When I was researching the orphanage, I found records that their youngest daughter had died in a tragic accident a few years before the war. There were rumors of cannibalism in the house, but, well, those are rumors that you could find about most houses. I believe it burned down in the 50s, and that something else was supposed to be built on the site. Well, at least that's what the records say, but I've been there recently, and I can't quite explain it, but it's just gone, isn't it?
Yeah, the buildings next to them are, well, they are wall to wall.
Yes, indeed. These are odd times.
The Klenkos, were they buried anywhere?
I haven't found any records of where they would have been buried, but he picks up the book again. But I do have this. It's a photo of the family.
The Kalenko family?
Yes. He gives you a black and white photograph. It looks like it must have been taken in the late 30s. Looks like better times. You see the photo and you recognize 3 of the people on there. The wife and the 2 daughters. They are the 3 women. The ones hunting you.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we play the campaign The Black Madonna for the tabletop role-playing game KULT Divinity Lost. The Black Madonna was originally constructed by Gunilla Jonsson and Mikael Petersen in 1991, with additional material for the 2017 edition by Marco Berman, Matthias Fredriksson, Petter Nallo, and Robin Liljenberg. KULT Divinity Lost is published by Helmgast. The music was created by Atrium Carceri and is used with permission from their label Cryochamber. Visit cryochamber.bandcamp.com or their YouTube channel to hear more excellent dark ambient. A new episode of Red Moon Roleplaying is released every Friday. Please like our Facebook page and give us comments, input and feedback there. You can also visit us at redmoonroleplaying.com. Finally, a big thank you to all supporters. If you want to show your appreciation and encourage our work, look out for us on Patreon and see if you want to support the show there. While the show will always be free of charge to our listeners, Patreon supporters will have access to extra material, such as a bonus podcast where we answer your questions about the campaign and role-playing games in general. If you just can't wait, you can even get access to the full-length, raw and unedited versions of our gaming sessions way before they are released as finished episodes. Thanks for listening. Looking forward to meeting again next week.